So, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi was in conversation with former RBI Governor Dr. Raghuram Rajan just a short while back, and they were apparently talking about how to deal with the COVID 19 crisis and, of course, the fallout coming as a result of that. So, they touched upon a number of points, and I'm going to take these points to my colleague and senior sub editor Tushar Gupta, and we're going to discuss them. So, Tushar, welcome. I'm going to start with the lockdown and the opening up of the economy. So that's what they touched upon first. What did they talk about?
So, a very interesting interview, almost a half an hour interview between Raghuram Rajan and Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi. A lot of ideas which have already been in public debate for the last month or so were discussed. The tangibility or the solutions they offered, we'll take it up one by one. So, spoke about the opening up of the economy, which he says has to be sequencing. We need to recognize the districts which are hotspots. We need to open up the areas because he even believes, the Raghuram Rajan, that is, that a prolonged lockdown is not going to work in our favor. We do not have the resources, it kills business sentiment, and there is the threat of trust deficiency in the entire economic system. Now, his point is that even if we open the lockdown and the number of cases rise, which is a very obvious assumption because suddenly you do not have the social distancing measures in place and things like that. So, what if the number of cases rise and you have to go for another lockdown, let's say in the beginning of June or late May or somewhere around those times? So, this is what he's worried about. But then I don't see anything new to it because the Prime Minister has already taken this up with the CMs in the interview on a video conferencing meeting earlier this week that we need to ensure that the districts which are hotspots, they need to be curbed in terms of the outbreak. This has already been taken up in great detail. So to say that we need to open up the economy in a sequential fashion, we need to make sure there's no another lockdown. I mean, that's already been discussed. The second issue, which he also pressed upon, is that of migrant workers. Now, we discussed that we've seen how the migrant workers fiasco played out first in Anand Vihar in New Delhi, then in Bandra in Bombay. Let's for a second keep the political side of this fiasco aside. He said that the priority should be to keep them alive and to make sure food reaches them. Well, wasn't that addressed in within the first week of the lockdown itself, when the Prime Minister made special arrangements under the public distribution system for the food grains to reach the poor? In fact, they were being given extra ration now that they were at home. What else? I mean, these issues are already addressed. So I don't know what really was the focal point here. But when it comes to feeding the poor, making sure that the lower income groups are well taken care of in terms of food, that's already being done.
Right. Now, the favorite bogey of not testing enough came up again in their conversation, isn't it? I mean, not long ago, Rahul Gandhi in a press conference to the media also spoke about India not testing enough and they need to ramp it up. So, what was touched upon here in this conversation?
So this is some debate which has been going on, I think, since mid March actually. That how much are we testing? Now he said that America is testing at 150,000 per day, and given India's population is 4.5 times that of US, we should be looking at more than half a million tests each day. Now, one thing, it's not feasible. The feasibility is also a question here. But the second thing is, do we have the same circumstances as we have in the United States? The United States, in areas like Washington, D.C., in New York, they have ample evidence of community transmission. We do not have that. Of course, we have some hotspots. We have some increased number of cases which were registered due to Tablighi Jamaat last week. Much of it has been written about it. But do we have the scale of community transmission that was witnessed in the US in the previous month? It's easy to say that we should be testing at the scale of million per day or 2 million per day, but the feasibility is also in question. You cannot just throw in a random number and say, oh, just because US is doing it at 150,000 per day, we need to do it at half a million. Do we? I mean, in one breath, you say we do not have the adequate resource. And the second point you're making, that no, we need to also go for more than half a million tests each day. We need to understand there's no such evidence of such great community transmission yet. Of course, in Delhi, when they found that there were threats of community transmission in certain areas, they upped the ante, they increased the number of tests. But it has to be calculated decision. You cannot just go on a random testing spree because that helps no one.
Right. Now, Raghuram Rajan, of course, being an economist, he must have surely had a couple of insights on these 2 points. One is, what is he saying about the impact on the economy post lockdown? One is that, and what is he also commenting about the fiscal deficit concern for this year?
Well, Raghuram Rajan voiced his concerns about the economy that this is unprecedented, as if it wasn't already obvious for the Indian people or Indian population or people all around the world. It is indeed unprecedented. Jobs are being lost, there are pay cuts. Boeing just slashed 10% of its workforce. British Airways fired 12,000 people. So the unprecedentedness of the situation is no surprise to anyone, Karan. What he speaks is that how do we look at the lockdown? There is no clear idea. I was hoping that he would elaborate upon how what the Indian government needs to do to kickstart the economy, to make sure the MSMEs are in a better position to restart their operations, to help the logistics sector, which is now becoming the backbone of India, to help the trucking sector. But none of this was discussed. Even in terms of fiscal space, he made a floating point that, India doesn't have the same kind of fiscal space countries in the US have. See, the point with fiscal deficit debate, Karan, there are two sides to it. One says, let go of the fiscal deficit now. As some people say, when your house is on fire, you won't worry about the furniture, you won't worry about the decorations, you would worry about getting a fire brigade to put the fire out. And some say, oh no, we need to be conscious about the fiscal deficit space, we cannot we cannot just breach all the limits. There was no talk about the monetization of debt from the RBI, which could have been a very interesting perspective someone like Raghuram Rajan could have offered. But just saying that, oh, we do not have the fiscal space like countries in the US have, well, that's pretty obvious to everyone. Where is the idea? Where is the idea to kickstart the economy? Of course, we know we need to kickstart the economy. Jobs are important, they need to be brought back. But where is the direction to do so? That I felt wasn't there.
I think Rahul Gandhi also posed a question to Raghuram Rajan about how much money do they require, how much monetary support do they need in these times, and they had an interesting answer, isn't it?
Yes, that was the funny part of the interview. They broke into the Lagan accent, in Hindi, and suddenly Rahul Gandhi was interesting. How much will it cost to help the poor people in India? And Raghuram Rajan gave a figure of 65,000 crore rupees. Now, I don't know where the figure came from. I don't see any explanation to it. There was no elaboration on how that money should be spent. Should it be in the form of cash transfer programs? Should it be in the form of food distribution? Should it be under Manrega? I mean, no elaboration on that. So to just post a floating figure of P 65,000 crore, which he says is less as compared to the Indian GDP, but no, it's really tangible idea on how to spend it is what was really sort of surprising about it, about the answer.
Finally, Tushar, Raghuram Rajan spoke about reaching out and trying to be a more inclusive economy. But he was speaking about it as though it was a novel concept. Hasn't the government actually been going in that direction for a while now?
So multiple perspectives on this, Karan. I'll come to it one by one. One, he said the benefits of the direct benefit transfer need to be realized. Well, going back to his tenure, he was the first one who was a little skeptical of that, but let's give him the benefit of doubt in hindsight. Today, under the Jandhan Yojana, we have 382 million bank accounts. So that's an average a bank account for every family in India. I'm not just talking about the rural families. On an average, a bank account for every rural family in India. That's a huge number. So of course, your direct benefit transfers are working. You have the Jandhan Aadhaar and the Mobile Trinity working together. That's how the government has been embarking on the direct benefit transfer program. They have saved a lot of money. There's been a monetary leakage. The problem of monetary leakage has been solved. To say that the government needs to realize the benefits of it, it's already there. The second thing he spoke about was the crisis of centralization. Somehow, even Rahul Gandhi elaborated upon this point, saying, oh, Tamil Nadu, you have greater power given to the panchayats, and in states like UP, you do not have that. Now, Karan, of course, this is an unprecedented situation across the world. Let's not start with India. Across the world, starting with the United States, where Donald Trump is there, Germany, Chancellor Angela Merkel, British PM Boris Johnson. At a time like this, you need a central figure. You need a central figure. Some people may not like it. Some people may believe that, decentralization is important, which it eventually will get there. But to say that centralization is somehow a problem in these times, can you imagine a lockdown in India, the kind of one we've had in the last 5 weeks, if Modi had not upped the ante in the beginning? It's impossible to imagine because people relate to a figure. Of course, there will be some states which are not very aligned to the PM's vision in terms of elections or voting. But at a time like this, the nation wants to hear from its PM or its president, be it any nation. So I don't know where the centralization debate is coming from. Another point that was made was that we need to give more power to the panchayats. And at the same time, he said, Raghuram Rajan, that is, that we need to take the opportunity of getting into the global supply chain. The global order is changing. Now, Karan, tell me, can we expect the head of a panchayat to go discuss the manufacturing opportunities in a state with anyone, with any CEO of the US? There are some things the states need to take a call at. Of course, he could have elaborated on how healthcare can be further decentralized under Ayushman Bharat. Points like this could have been raised. Points like how what Indian government can do right to help US companies diversify their manufacturing from China to India could have been discussed. But just making a floating point that no, the panchayat needs to be given more power, the centralization is wrong, I just don't see how it adds up in the greater picture. That's where my issue is.
Right. Tushar, and I think he's planning a series of these conversations with different leaders. So hopefully we get some insights from that. It's a positive thing. If he's having a chat and the opposition needs to be involved in this. Yeah.
The opposition is taking interest in these conversations. Of course, it's a very interesting thing to have all ideas of thought at a time like this because it's, again, an unprecedented situation. So, all the good to have all thoughts like this. But the focus needs to be on tangible solutions, Karan. I'm sure Raghuram Rajan is not the first guest in this series, but the focus needs to be on tangible solutions. You cannot repeat the efforts government has already been making because people are looking up for solutions at this point. As we approach the May 3 deadline of the lockdown, people would be looking for solutions to say that social harmony is required. The infrastructure of hatred and division won't do any good. Well, I don't see any hatred and division. I see a country united in a lockdown, moving towards curbing the outbreak of the virus to actually mock this entire unison of the country, the kind of unity that has been displayed in the past 5 weeks without offering any concrete ideas. That is what I couldn't really comprehend in this interview, Karan. That's what it was.
Great. Thank you so much for your points, Tushar.
Thank you, Karan.